Hi everyone, today I have come with four women centric novels written by four women authors. The first one is Reading Lolita in Teran by Azhar Nafisi. Then we have Writers and Lovers written by Lily King. Then Hamnet written by Maggie O'Farrell. And Summer in Tuscany written by Elizabeth Adler. So let's start with Reading Lolita in Tehran by Azhar Nafisi. So this is non-fiction. It's like a memoir. Azhar Nafisi is a writer and a professor of literature. She was teaching in the University of Tehran until she ran into problems with the regime because she refused to wear the veil, and she resigned, and then later she went on to another university and started teaching there. So this book actually deals with the way she talks to her students, or what she talks to her students, the books she talks to her students about, and also a bit of a personal life and what happens there in her family. So basically, this book talks about the discussions she has with her students about books, about Lolita, about so many other different books like Emily Bronte's books, Jane Austen's books, Margaret Atwood's books, Huckleberry Finn, and so many different other books that she started talking about. And the viewpoints that the students have. And through these discussions, we get to know what is happening in Iran and how it has affected the people there and how it is affecting the minds of women there, the lives of women, where they make themselves smaller and smaller, and there are more and more restrictions on them. But there is this indomitable spirit within them that they want to know more about the world and they want to get back their rights. So, reading Lolita in Tehran actually made me want to go back to college and take literature this time. I know friends who have talked to me so much about wonderful classes that they've had. And I just wanted to read a couple of lines for you here, which says, okay, so the professor, Azhar, is saying in class, quote, "A novel is not an allegory," I said, as the period was about to come to an end. It is the sensual experience of another world. If you don't enter that world, hold your breath with the characters and become involved in their destiny, you won't be able to empathize. And empathy is at the heart of the novel. This is how you read a novel. You inhale the experience. So start breathing. I just want you to remember this. That's all. Class dismissed. Unquote. So, this is how the classes go, and this is the kind of teacher that she is. So, reading Lolita in Tehran by Azhar Nafisi is a great book to read. It's like you're being in literature class. And you also get to know about what is happening in Tehran and the lives of women and how it is being affected, and their spirit, the wonderful spirit of the women there. So, read this if you're in the mood for something like this. Now let's move on to Hamnet, written by Maggie O'Farrell. Hamnet is again one of my favorite books. Hamnet is the story of William Shakespeare's wife. It's totally fictional, this is historical fiction, and actually, not much is known about Shakespeare's wife. So, Maggie O'Farrell has taken it upon herself to give her interpretation of the kind of woman she would have been. And the cog on which the story is going around is the death of Shakespeare's son, Hamlet, and the play that he wrote some time later, which is called Hamlet. So Agnes is William Shakespeare's wife, and she's considered to be a woman who's slightly strange because she has a certain affinity to nature and to the natural world, and she has these perceptions of things that are happening. So she is taken to be slightly different. She marries Shakespeare. So nowhere is Shakespeare's name mentioned, okay? He's only talked about as the son or the husband or the father. So it's Agnes who is the main protagonist in this book. And it starts with the death of the 11-year-old son, Hamlet. They have two other daughters, and Hamlet is 11 when he dies of the plague. And it is how Agnes deals with this loss, and how she tries to overcome it, and how much she is in love with her husband, who is immersed in his own world. how she tries to come out of it, and how she feels betrayed when she finds that he has written a play with her son's name. So, this is the kind of book that it is. The writing is brilliant, it's exquisite. Read it for the writing, if not for anything else. But Agnes is a woman that you should know and you should read about. So, this is Hamnet, written by Maggie O'Farrell. Okay, now let me come to Writers and Lovers, written by Lily King. This is one of my favorite books that I read this year. This was not published this year, this was published in 2020, but I read it this year and I loved it. Maybe because it is the story of a writer and a writer's insecurities, and but Casey, who is 31 years old and who is the main protagonist, is stuck. She is writing a novel, and she's a person who has completed her studies and still she's 31 now, so that's so many years since she completed her studies, but still she is stuck on to her dream of writing a novel, and she's waitressing currently, and she's heavily in debt. Her mother passes away. She had a very strong bond with her mother, and her mother passes away suddenly. So, all these things are happening in her life when we meet Casey. And there is so much that we can identify with. There's so much that I identified with how she's going about doing things and how she tries to come out of it. And the writing is brilliant. The theme is wonderful. And something I feel that a lot of us can identify with if we are stuck in creative endeavors, or even if we are stuck in some things in life. So, Writers and Lovers by Lily King is one of the best books I have read this year, and I would strongly recommend it to you. And now let's move on to the last book, Summer in Tuscany, written by Elizabeth Adler. Um, the cover is wonderful, of course. This is a book that you have to read if you're in the mood for an escape. You can escape to Italy. You can escape to a place which is beautiful. The Italian countryside is described so beautifully. The light, the cuisine, the fresh produce, the people, the warmth of the people, the eccentricities of some of them. The book is Summer in Tuscany by Elizabeth Adler. If you're in the mood for any of those things, this is the story of Gemma Jericho, who is a very, very hardworking doctor in New York. And she's become so involved in her life that she's become so busy that she does not find time for anything else. And she feels that she's getting distanced from her teenage daughter. Her mother, who is an Italian, is very worried about her. She feels that Gemma does not have a social life. And Gemma's mother, she inherits a villa in a small town in Italy. And suddenly, all three of them decided to go to Italy. When they go there, they find that there is another person, an American called Ben Shapiro, who also claims to be the heir to that villa. So there is this lovely magical thing that happens, and you get to read about Italy and you read about the wonderful food there. It is an escape. It is a wonderful, beautiful escape. So if you're in the mood for that, go and read Summer in Tuscany by Elizabeth Adler. It has been made into a movie, that's different, but please read this. These four books are what I want to recommend to you today, in case you want to gift it to somebody, in case you want to escape from the stress of daily life, or in case you just want to read a good book. All these four books are books that are worth reading. Reading Lolita and Teran by Azar Nafisi, Writers and Lovers by Lily King, Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, and Summer in Tuscany by Elizabeth Adler. So check out these books, and according to what you're in the mood for, get into it and have a great time reading. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about these four books, women centric stories written by women authors. So till we meet again for the next video, you guys take care, stay safe, please read. Okay, bye bye.